Good evening. This is the March 29th, 2023 meeting of your Glendale, City of Glendale Civil Service Commission. And I extend my greetings to all of you who are present here personally, and as well those who are viewing these proceedings on GT6 or virtually. And with that, could we...
Commissioner Gazarian.
Here.
Commissioner Hartunian.
Here.
Chairman Carley.
Present. And our minutes?
Next item, minutes. Consideration of the minutes for the meeting of February 15th, 2023.
Second.
And if I raise my hand, it's by consensus. Would that be helpful to move us forward in this very demanding session?
So skip.
By consensus.
Okay. Oral communications. We have no phone calls or cards.
Thank you. And moving forward to our recruitment and examination report.
Recruitment and examination report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the Commission. This is the regular recruitment and examination status report, which represents the current recruitments in process and that our team is currently working on. You'll notice that our team has 70 open recruitments at this time, and they are in various stages of the examination and selection process. If the Commission has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, this is a note and file item.
I'm looking to my fellow commissioners because I have no questions. None.
Eligible list established.
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the Commission, the subject before the Commission is the regular report that includes all of the eligible lists that were recently established since our last meeting in February. This report includes the total number of applications and the number of individuals that advanced through the various stages of our examination process for the positions. Since our last meeting, we have had a total of 24 lists that were established. 9 were open to the public, 9 were given on a promotional basis, and 6 were both open and promotional. This is a note and file item. However, if the Commission has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I have none.
Class specification for approval, fire engineer, fire captain, and fire battalion chief, and job bulletin for approval, fire battalion chief.
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the Commission, before you is a request to approve the revised class specification for fire engineer, fire captain, and fire battalion chief, which are in a career ladder, as well as the job bulletin for the position of fire battalion chief, which the city wants to promulgate soon. These class specifications were last updated 7 years ago in 2016. The California State Fire Marshal's Office establishes professional training and certification courses and standards for various levels of firefighting professionals, and the changes we are recommending today will align Glendale's minimum requirements, including training, to that of the State Fire Marshal's Office and the equivalent fire positions at the state level. You'll notice each class specification identified originally 2 lists of training classes, and they were separated on track A and B. Today, the courses which are listed on track B are still taught, and those listed under track A were eliminated in January 2016. Additionally, there are other courses that were eliminated or replaced, and these class specifications have been updated accordingly. Very shortly, Glendale Fire will release a job bulletin for fire battalion chief, and the exam components will be similar to the last recruitment and selection process. Following the Commission's approval of this item, HR will work with Glendale Fire Leadership to confirm the filing period and examination dates. Tentatively, the bulletin is scheduled to be posted on April 3rd, and the examination is tentatively scheduled for May 17th, 2023. Once completely confirmed, the dates will be updated on the bulletin prior to its promulgating and posting. The Glendale Firefighters Association has been given an opportunity to review the class specifications. In addition, the Glendale Management Association has been given an opportunity to review the Fire Battalion Chief class specification. Both the Glendale Firefighters Association and the Glendale Management Association have also been given an opportunity to review our request to post the bulletin for Fire Battalion Chief. Neither association has expressed any concern. Therefore, we do respectfully ask that the class specifications for Fire Engineer, Fire Captain, and Fire Battalion Chief, as well as the request to post the bulletin for Fire Battalion Chief, be approved as submitted. We do have HR staff here, as well as Battalion Chief Brian Ritchie, and if you have any further questions, they'll be happy to answer them.
May I just ask a point of clarification? Am I correct, GMA did not submit comments? I was under the impression that they did and that we supplied that just today.
GMA originally had no comments. On yesterday, they asked for some inclusive, some additional wording that we did incorporate, and we passed that wording out to you earlier and put a copy on your desks. Following that communication yesterday, they did have no further comments.
And also that a copy of that was placed in the back of the room with the agenda for the public to view.
That is correct. Thank you for that clarification.
And as the city attorney addressed what appears to be a revision of sorts, I'm raising this. I believe this is what was referenced in your last conversation with the city attorney. There's a revision, and this was a revision that incorporated input from the GMA.
Yes.
In summary, are there any, certainly we read it quite speedily because we just recently received any what are the changes, if any?
They wanted to highlight for the Fire Battalion Chief that when assigned to administration and being responsible for general administration functions, they wanted us to insert emergency medical services to that paragraph, and we did. They also wanted us to insert where we indicated may be required to may be required to a 40-hour administrative assignment. They wanted us to replace the word work with accept a 40-hour administrative assignment, and those were the changes that they asked for.
I have no further questions.
I have a couple of quick questions about the education part for fire captain and the battalion chief.
Mr. Chairman, fellow commissioners, what are your questions? I can be more than happy to answer those.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I have a question about the education. Looks like under the must-have completed the following wildland courses. A number of courses are crossed out. Can we have some background on what these courses were and why?
Referencing battalion chief, sir? Or captain, sorry.
This one is for fire captain. There's a similar strikeout on the battalion chief also.
Okay.
Just wondering whether these courses are no longer relevant, applicable.
Yeah, so as to captain, you'll see as a term age 330, which is underlined. That used to be considered AR 330. So the California Incident Command Certification System made it so that AR 330 is no longer valid to be certified as a strike team leader. So they require you to take AH330. So we updated it to the current standard to receive that qualification. As to 215, that's no longer taught because it's required you have a company officer class of 2E, which is the same class taught under the state fire marshal as 215 would be. So we made 2E the requirement, not 215. As well as S330 is just the oldest version of what AR330 was in AH. They had a progression of updating the classes. The S330 was taught back in the 90s, updated again in the mid-2000s, and then currently today, since 2016, AH330 is the current class, which is accepted.
Excellent, thank you. So there's no downgrading of requirements?
No, they have just met standards and actually kept them with the line with state standards with the fire marshal as well as the California Incident Command Certification System says.
I had the same question about the fire battalion, and I take it the answer is similar.
Same thing. Yeah, they're very closely in line.
Same is true about the strikeout for the fire battalion from paramedic program to emergency medical services.
Yeah, because emergency medical services covers the whole EMS system. The paramedic program is a small facet. We also have EMTs, ambulance operators, which are outside of the scope of paramedic.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I have no other questions.
Second. We have,
Commissioner Gazarian?
Yes.
Commissioner Hartunian?
Yes.
Chair McCarley?
yes. Keeping you busy there.
Class specification for approval, IT application series.
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, before you is a request to approve the revised class specification for the IT application series, which was last updated 2 years ago in August of 2021. As the commission is aware, information technology is an area where change in the profession is continual and can become outdated in a very short turnaround time. Last year, when the city adopted the 2022-2023 budget, the city council authorized the IT department to establish the senior IT applications analyst classification. This is a mid-management position that is responsible for complex technical and professional planning duties, and this specification is being revised to add Senior IT Applications Analyst to the class series and to update the essential functions of the role and to clarify the minimum qualifications for the role. The Glendale City Employees Association and the Glendale Management Association were both given the opportunity to review the class specification series and have not expressed any concerns. Therefore, we respectfully request the changes to the IT application series be approved as submitted. Again, we have HR staff here this evening, along with the Assistant Chief Information Officer, who are here and can answer any questions that you may have.
I have no questions.
Are you saying we're not ready to replace this position with artificial intelligence yet?
Not yet.
Okay, good. All right. I have no other questions.
Move to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Gazarian?
Yes.
Commissioner Hartunian?
Yes.
Chair McCarley?
Yes.
Class specification for approval, electrical service planner series.
Okay, yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, before you is a revised class specification series for the electrical service planner at the Glendale Water and Power Department. During its December 2022 meeting, the City Council approved creating a principal electrical service planner classification. This is a mid-management position who shall be responsible for the supervision of electrical service planner group and will also perform the most complex duties within the series. This position will also assist with the implementation of the City Council's recently adopted REACH codes to electrify new construction, increase solar generation, and increase electrical vehicle charging. Also, because the Electrical Service Planner series was last updated in February 1999, or 24 years ago, Glendale Water and Power is also updating the job duties. The revisions reflect what staff does today in these roles, and it also includes adding the city's standard boilerplate language to the series to ensure consistency with other class specifications. The Glendale City Employees Association and the Glendale Management Association have been notified of the department's request for the proposed new classifications and the revisions, and have not expressed any concerns. Again, we have HR staff here present, along with a senior electrical engineer from Glendale Water and Power, who can answer any questions that you may have.
I have no questions.
Move to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Kazarian,
Yes.
Commissioner Hartunian,
Yes.
Chair McCarley.
Yes.
Class specification for approval, Transit Series.
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, before you is a revised class specification series for the transit series in the Public Works Department, and it was last updated in 2018. The department is seeking your approval to update the job functions and the minimum requirements for the positions to bring them up to date and to improve the pool of qualified candidates during the recruitment and selection process. Additionally, the Public Works Department is adding the city's standard boilerplate language to the series to ensure consistency with all other class specifications. Current staff occupying the position of transit associate will not be affected by the proposed change of requiring a bachelor's degree and 6 months of experience for transit associate. The Glendale City Employees Association and the Glendale Management Association have been notified of the proposed changes and have not expressed any concerns. Therefore, we are respectfully requesting that the revised class specification for the transit series be approved as submitted. We have HR staff here, as well as our transit manager, who can answer any additional questions that you may have.
I have none.
Move to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Kazarian,
Yes.
Commissioner Hartunian,
Yes.
Chair McCarley.
Yes.
Reports and information, employee job performance evaluations, past due, aging report.
Mr. Chair and members of the commission, before you is an informational report on performance evaluation and the return status for the City of Glendale's employees. As you can see, the response rate is very good. At the time the agenda was published, there were 16 evaluations citywide past due. However, as of today, 8 fire department evaluations that were on the second notice have been served and returned to HR, and 1 other evaluation that was on the first notice list was served and returned. Again, as of today, there are no past due evaluations on the second notice list. If the commission has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, this is a note and file item.
No questions. Commendable.
No questions, thank you.
Civil Service Commission staff comments.
No comment.
I have none. Commissioner Gazan? None. Staff? You sent them?
No comment.
We have no comments.
Very good. Public Employee Disciplinary Hearing, Senior Library Arts and Culture Supervisor. And Mr. Chair, we do have a card for public comment.
And with that, I'm going to first, yes, you'll identify the issue, and I understand that this remains an open
Yes.
matter,
The
so that
appellant,
there's no requirement to exclude anyone virtually or present in this chamber.
no, the appellant asked for an open hearing.
Is the appellant present? Is the appellant representative present?
He's on his way. He's walking. Mr. Chair, can I make an inquiry? I thought I heard Mr. Kwan say there's a card for the public comment. Is that,
No,
For number 12.
it's number 12 specifically, as I assume it relates to this particular disciplinary hearing.
a public comment? How does that work?
I'm not,
They can make the comment at the time that this item is
okay.
called. Although the appellant did say that his counsel's not present. Would you like to take a brief recess?
Yeah.
I think that that's only appropriate. The gentleman who appears on my sight line, sir, you are?
I'm a principal assistant city attorney for the city of Glendale. I'm going to be representing the city.
The appointing authority.
Understand
Can we
tonight.
inquire from the employee as to the estimated time of arrival of counsel, perhaps? Do we know?
I'll go outside and make sure.
That would be helpful, because he was indeed advised that we commence at
Yeah, he was just calling, but I didn't answer.
Go ahead and answer so we can know when he'll be here, maybe. And do we take public comment after, or can we take it now?
We would now go and hear about the item first, then we would go to public comment, and then we would bring up the parties to hear from them.
That's an appropriate way forward.
So
Ms. Adams, I think we can proceed with that.
But I would encourage you to wait
Hold the
for counsel
counsel.
to
But if it
arrive.
has to do with this employee, shouldn't the employee be present? Yeah.
The
All
employee-
right, with
I
that,
guess we're waiting.
with that comment, I think we'll just stand and hold, and we really have nothing.
I think there
I
is-
think we should take a
I think,
recess.
no, we have it. We have a counsel.
Oh, we have the council. Oh,
so. Looks like a council.
fortuitous. Thank you. With that, we have nothing. Is that going to serve as our council table tonight? That table with the black cover on it, or tablecloth?
That's probably going to be the witness.
Yeah, that's,
Oh, well, the witness can be up there. No, counsel sits here.
yeah, that's what I understand. We're going to take a brief recess. We'll return in just a few minutes. We are on schedule. And with that, the city attorney or assistant city attorney can take. Yeah, once we get started, we will begin with your recitation, but I want to make one confirmation. We'll introduce ourselves firstly, then I will ask a question which is very critical to the continuance of these proceedings. And first of all, counsel, could you introduce yourself and your client?
My name is Scott. I'm the attorney with the City Employees Associates representing
Mr. Sarian. And for the approving authority?
Edward Kang, of the city attorney's office for the appointment.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And with that, as we are commencing these proceedings, and I am looking to counsel, Mr.
Scott.
Scott.
Yes.
I understand, but could be wrong, that you have requested that these proceedings be conducted publicly.
Yes, Mr. Sarian has decided that he would like to
Can
have
you
an
speak
open.
up, sir?
Mr. Sarian has decided that he would like to have an open hearing Yes.
And with that, and I am looking to the approving and appointing authority, I hear no opposition to this now public proceeding. Okay, and with that, Ms. Adams, if you can identify and outline what we are about to embark upon.
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, before you is an appeal for a disciplinary action that resulted in a reduction in job classification for Kevin Sarian from Senior Library Arts and Culture Supervisor to Library Specialist after being charged with several policy violations, including dishonesty, failure to treat other employees or the public with courtesy, respect, or dignity, unauthorized use of profanity, conduct which is inconsistent with proper administration of the department, and 2 charges of unlawful discrimination and harassment in the workplace.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. And with that, we have certain procedural matters which must be taken care of immediately.
Mr. Chair, can I inquire of the employee's last name spelling, please?
Counsel, if you could.
S-A-R-I-A-N.
I'm sorry, what is it?
S-A-R-I-A-N.
Thank you.
And with that, and I am looking at you because you have the significant responsibility to defend and advance your client's interests. The first question I put to my fellow commissioners.
Do we want to go to the oral comment first?
I'll take that. Appreciate that commentary
If I may,
and comment.
Ms. Adams, were you done with
No,
the
I had-
introduction of your background?
Did I cut you
information?
off?
Sentences.
Did I cut you off?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my gosh. With that,
Let's get the full background information before we proceed.
thank you.
So the last thing I mentioned were 2 charges of unlawful discrimination and harassment in the workplace. And so we are respectfully requesting that, Mr. Chair, you determine whether the hearing will be heard by the full commission or 1 or 2 commissioners, and determine which commissioner will be the chair of the hearing. And I do want to confirm that the counsel for the appointing authority and for the city, Mr. Kang is sitting to my right, as well as the counsel to the commission. And that concludes my remarks.
I appreciate it. And with that, Ms. Adams outlined the first procedural matters that we have to resolve. And as she outlined, we must determine, this body must determine whether this matter will be heard by the 3 of us, 1 of us, or, and this is where it's very important that you listen carefully, whether you would stipulate that this matter be heard beyond May of this year. And the reason for that is our city council and its members will be appointing the remaining 2 members of this panel. We don't know whom they will be, but by May, there should be a full complement of civil service commissioners.
And if I may, Chair, with the permission of the Chair, the parties ought to be made aware that we are currently, the 3 of us, engaged in another matter, and by my estimation, we cannot commence anything anytime any earlier than May, even if we set dates today with this body, but I just want the parties to be aware of that. Thank you.
But, go ahead. Does you have any comments?
I think what we'll do with your input as well is I wanted to also lay out the second requirement, assuming that there is no stipulation between the appointing authority and the appellant, then this matter will proceed based upon the first available date that we have. And that will be very difficult to ascertain because, as Commissioner Gazarian indicated to you, we have our hands full, and it's our responsibility to proceed carefully and fairly, but we are engaged in a very complex and disciplinary matter. So I look to both of you as to whether or not you will stipulate that this matter can be set initially for a pre-hearing conference at which we will discuss whether or not you or the appointing authority intend to file any motions regarding this upcoming proceeding. And at that pretrial conference, or pre-hearing conference, we will then set specific hearing dates or date dependent on how you and we see once again, the number of witnesses, the complexity of the issues, and then we'll determine the number of hearing dates. So I am looking to both of you as to whether or not there is a stipulation to set the pre-hearing for this disciplinary matter after May.
We have not discussed that or to stipulate anything, but personally, Kevin would be perfectly fine stipulating to having it heard after May.
And with that, I think what we can do with that, excuse me? Yeah, oh, that's exactly. I wouldn't know what to do without you. Thank you. All right, then we do have a stipulation, and I've been instructed, encouraged at this point in time to take oral comments concerning this particular matter.
Chair McCarley, council has a comment.
Yeah, Chair McCarley, you used the phrase after May. Is that to say
I'm
that?
saying after May 1,
Okay.
because that gives us enough time from the point in which we have a newly constituted council, not new members of the council, but a new mayor. And the expectation is, as has happened in the past, that the mayor and city council and the applicable council person for each of these chairs, these vacant chairs, will make the appointment.
Right, so my question is, are the parties stipulating to return at the regular commission meeting in May or June? What is the?
I'm going to look to my fellow commissioners. Both of them, you have some
I'm
dynamic.
going to defer to Commission Counsel. I have my opinion, but let's hear from her.
I wanted to comment on the last remark with regard to council appointment.
Yeah.
There's a new process the council has adopted with regard to the appointment of civil service commissioners. At the next meeting, this coming meeting in April 4th, the council will select the panel that will come together to review applications of interested parties. As I understand it from the city clerk's office, there are no submissions as of yet. We anticipate that the outreach will happen for that in the coming weeks, and potentially have qualified individuals who express interest, and then the panel that's established for each of the 3 positions will meet, review those applications, and then make a selection. So I would conservatively estimate that a new commissioner will not be in place until well into the middle of May.
Thank you. Then
June 14?
June 14th.
Regularly scheduled meeting if the parties
At our point,
return.
I would accept the recommendation of my fellow commissioner. Council, yes, Commissioner?
My question is, the parties, that's what they want to stipulate. My question is, because this matter is before us today,
Yeah.
is that okay to, based on their stipulation, to continue? Do we even have to decide on who's, so we continue it until?
I think the decision.
If I
they
might,
stipulate.
Commissioner Artunian, with the stipulation of the parties to return on June 14th, as the chair outlined a moment ago, I believe it would be fair and reasonable for the parties to return on June 14th, at which point the pre-hearing conference would be conducted and dates would be selected for the hearing. So that seems like a reasonable approach.
And I think that if you fully appreciated what we've stated, so the next date at which you will be present with or without your client is the 14th of June. Is that acceptable to the appointing authority?
Yes, it is.
And to you, sir?
Yes, it is. This will be the pre-hearing conference.
Yes, this is a
like you
pre-hearing.
explained earlier. Okay.
Just an analogy, and you actually heard me with the multiple slips of the tongue, pre-trial, I did it again.
Right.
This is a pre-hearing conference conducted similarly to your own experiences in a trial court, state or federal. So we do, and before you depart, we do have a communications card, and could we kindly ask that person within our audience in front of us today to come forth and address us?
Mr. Chair, we have a card from Tamara Movsesian.
So she has asked me to translate. I'll do my best.
I appreciate the contribution. Thank you. And could you ask simply, are her comments related to this particular proceeding, which is a disciplinary hearing regarding Glendale employee Mr. Sarian?
Հարցնում են ձեր հիմա այսօր ինչ որ ուզում պատրաստում եք խոսակին կապ ունի Քևին Սարյանի գործի հետ։
Այո, կապ ունի իբ խոսելը Սարյանի գործի հետ, քանի որ կապ ունի գրադարանի աշխատակի հետ, Central Glendale Library աշխատակի հետ։
Her answer is yes. She is here to speak about the matter of Kevin Sarian and as it relates to his discipline.
That is accepted.
Այո, ընդունված է։
Glendale Library, Central Library, իջ եկենադոր դիրեկտոր Հարիտ, որը հրյայա համել գեյա, բայց բոլորի discrimination անում, համ գեյին, համ հրյաներին, համ հայերին, համ լատինոներին, բոլոր ազգերին, ինքը իրան աստված ազգում։
She is complaining that the newly appointed director of library arts and culture has discriminated library staff ever since he has been appointed, and she is displeased with that.
Իրա տեղակալ հալատ, որը էլի գրադարդվա, գաղափար չունի ոչ սայսից, ոչ գրականությունից, ոչ արտից, ոչ մի բանից։ Baker Space-ը փակենա, կարուցեվի, կրուժոկա բացարը, կարուցեվի բան, կրուժոկ ոնց հարուսեր է դա կրուժոկը։
His newly appointed assistant, the director's assistant, Hala, she's informing you that she doesn't have any knowledge of the operation, including Makerspace. Makerspace. And including education and knowledge about library operations. Կներեք, Հարինովա, ինչ Հարի մասին եք խոսում։ Դիրեկտորը Gary. Okay. When you go and complain to Gary, the director of library arts and culture, he refers anybody who complains to him to Hala. Hala injishta. Basically, he does not address any issues as a director, so he asked that you address any issues that you may have with the library to Hala. Hala is an employee at the City of Glendale's Library Arts and Culture.
գրքերի պոկը դարակներ էին, հիմի մի ուջուր տեղա։ Ես օգտվել եմ առաջ գրադարանից, իսկ հիմա իմաց չունի գրադարան։
So the relationship between Glendale Library and Pasadena Library has been cut, and there's been 3 or 4 shelves of books at the library that has disappeared. She has previously attended the library, those books were there, and now they are not.
May I ask,
Yes, go ahead.
may I ask a question? My understanding was this comment had to do with the disciplinary hearing. So far, as far as I can understand, I haven't heard anything that has to do with the matter before us. Do you want to explain to her if at any point, if any comments are going to...
Դուք երբ որ որոշեցիք, որ այստեղ խոսակ, դուք ասացիք, որ ձեր այսօրվա ներկայացումը ուղիղ կապ ունենալու Քևին Սարյանի հետ
Այո։
դիսցիպլինայի։ Հիմա ինչ որ դուք խոսում եք, կապ չունի։ Ինչ որ կարաք
Անմիջական կապ ունի, որովհետև դիրեկտորը discrimination-ը անում։ Քևինի նկատմամբ էլ discrimination-ը։ Ինչու՞։ Որովհետև ինքը խելքը գլխին աշխատող է։ Իսկ դիրեկտորը այդ կախել չունի։
The director discriminates employees, specifically Kevin Sarian, and that is how this is connected to the disciplinary action.
Crazy.
Might we have, and we fully appreciate those comments, there will be a hearing in a few months in which we will get to the facts and employ our knowledge and understanding of the law of this state and the regulations of this city in order to determine whether or not there was an act of discrimination. So I, as chair, fully appreciate your comments. I think that they are important to be heard, and I think we've exhausted our 5 minutes. So thank you so much.
Mr. Chair, I have a...
5 minutes. He still has a little more time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're keeping track of that.
Որպես
through
commissioner շատ ընդունում են ձեր ասածը, գնահատում են ձեր ասածը եւ ուզում են ձեզ տեղակ պահել, որ մի քանի ամսից միտինգ ա լինելու նորից այստեղ այս Քևին Սարյանի հետ կապված եւ եթե ուզում եք ցանկություն ունեք ներկա գտնվել եւ ինչ որ արտահայտվեք, կարող եք։
Այո, դիտկա կգտնվեմ եւ ավելի պետք է ասեմ, ես ժամանակ ունեմ։ Գրադարանում կա corruption, money laundering։ Լորա Ֆրեդմանը 6 միլիոն տվե գրադարանին։ Որտեղ են օգտագործում այդ 6 միլիոնը։ Այդ շատ հետաքրքիր է։ Ընդհանրապես Գլենդելում, բոլոր օջախներում լուսին է 20 տարուց ավել դու City Ether-ի տեղակալ ես։ Հոյակապ գիտես, Գլենդելում կա corruption, discrimination։ School district-ում, գրադարանում, քոլեջում եւ ուրիշ տեղեր։ Ես ձեզ անձամբ բոլորը կարող եմ ասել։ Թաքարի բանես։
There's been corruption and money laundering in the library system. Laura Friedman allocated $6 million to the library system, and nobody knows where that money is.
Need to be heard. Excuse me. 1 minute, please. Can you find out? I never got who our citizen is. Is she an employee of the city?
Մենք չենք հասկանում դա։ Ձեր կարաք մեծներ ներկայացնեք ով եք, ստեղ եք ապրում, ինչ։
No, is she an employee of the
Դուք աշխատող եք։
Corruption, դա։
Դուք որպես ներկայացուցիչ ստեղ որ ելույթ եք ունենում, կարաք ներկայանաք դուք ով եք։ Ով եք։
Just ask her if she works at the library.
Ստեղ եք աշխատում, City-ում եք աշխատում, թե ոչ։
Ոչ, ես City-ում չեմ, ես City-ից եմ այս երկրի։ Եվ 20 տարուց ավել շատ երեխեքի օգնել եմ դպրոց տեղավորվել։ Շատերին օգնել եմ գնալ քալեջ։ Դաժե 3 հոգու օգնել եմ դատավարյարից բանանել, հրաժարվել։ Բուժում են նշանակը։ Ես բժիշկ եմ աշխատել իմ երկրում։ Երևանում, Armenia, 27 years I work medical doctor, pediatrician.
Okay.
And 20 years. And 20 years. I work teaching, pediatrician, students.
She has, no, she's not a city employee. She's for 20 years.
I'm
She's
just
a
trying to
senior
get a
citizen.
source of her information. Where is it coming from?
Եվ որտեղից գիտեք այդ ինֆորմացիան, որ ձեզ որ corruption այնտեղ խոսացեք, որ լսում։
Ինֆորմացիա դոկումենտալ ես կարող եմ տալ։ Հենց School District-ի համար։ School District-ում կա Դարինե Մակիջյան, որը օգտագործեց Glendale High School-ի բանը, Robotex-ի սիստեմը, ինքը գրանտը ստացավ, վերցրեց, գնաց Փասադինա։ Հիմի բանուp այդ Market School-ի խելքը գլխի դասադուր ստիպեցին հրաժարական տվեց այդ մարդը ում հանել էր Glendale Community College-ից գողության համար ընդեղ դաս է տալիս։
I think
we
we've
just
hit the
allow
5
her
minutes.
to conclude her comments, please?
Pardon me?
Can we allow her to conclude her comments? I think she still may have a few more minutes on her time.
Okay.
Գրադարանում, շնորհքով մարդկանց, Քեմիսարյանը միակը չի, շնորհքով մարդկանց հերթով գործից հանում են, ինչու?
Kevin Sarian is not the only person who was employed at the library whom they have attempted to remove from employment. There's been other people, employees that they, and she doesn't know why.
Կամ էլ թե չէ նենց պայմաններ է ստեղծում, որ այդ մարդը զզվի, դիմում գրի, թողի գնա տեղից, ինչու?
Or they create conditions that an employee just leaves themselves, gets dissatisfied and leaves themselves, decides to leave themselves.
Եվ վերջապես, թազա դշանակած City մենեջերի տեղակալ Ջոն Տասակյանը լավ ուսումնասիրել այս հարցը, որ համաձայնվել է գրադարանի որոշման հետ։ Ինձ էլ է հետաքրքիր։ Ես իրանել եմ ասել City ժողովից հետո դրսում։
And she's curious how Assistant City Manager John Toctalion, if he has had an opportunity to review this case and agree or disagree with the decision to discipline Kevin Sarian.
Առաջներում ես մի անգամ տարիներ առաջ ասել էի, որ ձուկը գլխից է հոտում ու Ջոնը ամեն անգամ ինձ դա կրկնում էր, ասում էր դու ճիշտ ես, ձուկը գլխից է հոտում։ Ես էլ իրան ասի դու էլ ես արել ձկան գլուխ։ Թակվանի։
I'm sorry, but it's been way over 5 minutes.
When we have someone who's being translated, we pause, and then when we engage with questions, that also extends the time.
So can somebody give us the time, please? Because we are way beyond the scope of the open session. And these are remarks that I appreciate someone's frustration, but many of it are beyond our purview.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Ms. Mosesian has 40 seconds left.
Thank you. If you could conclude, please.
She expressed that there's a saying that the fish rots from the head, literal translation, and she's in agreement that is the case with the city of Glendale.
And I extend my arms to you and say thank you very much. Your comments are of critical importance, and we will consider them. So thank you.
Գնահատում են ձեր այսօրվա ելույթը, անպայման կլսեն, եթե ելի ուզում եք ներկա գտնվել, կարող եք։
Այո, ինձ անպայման թող գրեր այդ ցուցակում, որ իսկական հիրինգը լինելուց, որովհետև ստեղի լոյերը ես էլ էի City-ի ժամանակին մի քանի տարի առաջ դատի տվել։ Այդ լոյերը չգիտեի ոնց ինձ շշկռասներ, կարծում էի պարավ կնիկեմ ախմախ եմ, բայց չկարացավ շշկռասի ու City-ն տարվեց։
She would like to be informed as to when the next meeting will be.
Certainly, I will answer that. And after that, this matter of the disciplinary proceeding with respect to Alex Sarian will be closed, or Mr. Sarian will be closed, June 14th, 2023.
What time?
It will be at 5. Yes, thank you. That is correct. Thank you.
She is responsible for each word that she has said today.
I appreciate that. It's a certification. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, and this matter, again, of Mr. Sarian is closed. We will see both the appellant and the appointing authority in a month and a half.
İçerset. Ha? Taşçorsi kaka. Şava hiki. Değil, Lucy de çağır.
Okay, we're going into,
Bakkat basit batati. Vörse vot siti başpares.
okay, thank you, ma'am. We're going into closed session. Excuse me? Yeah, the next item is in fact the closed session. At that point, go ahead, we'll do the conclusionary actions with respect to this public hearing, which is our monthly Civil Service Commission hearing. Go ahead.
Closed session, public employee discipline, police sergeant.
And now, at this point, as I began, we will move to closed session and clear the room, except for those persons who have a direct relationship to these proceedings. Yeah, absolutely. Camera's off. Oh, we have a reporter tonight. Mr. Secchi.